Peteroi Island is an uninhabited volcanic island in the Bellingshausen Sea, 450 kilometers from Antarctica. It is claimed as a dependency of Norway, and along with Queen Maud Land and Bouvet Island comprises one of the three Norwegian dependent territories in the Antarctic and Subantarctic. Peteroi Island is 11 by 19 kilometers long and 156 square kilometers. The tallest peak is the ultra and 1,640-meter tall Lars Christensen Peak. Nearly all of the island is covered by a glacier and it is surrounded most of the year by pack ice, making it inaccessible almost all year round. There is little life on the island apart from seabirds and seals. The island was first sighted by Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen on January 21, 1821 and was named for Peteroi of Russia. Not until February 2, 1929 did anyone set foot on the island, when Nils Larsen and Olstad's second Navagio Expedition, financed by Lars Christensen, was successful. They claimed it for Norway, who annexed it in 1931 and made it a dependency in 1933. The next landing occurred in 1948 and the island has been subject to some scientific research and a limited amount of tourism. The island became subject to the Antarctic Treaty in 1961. Since 1987, there has been an automated meteorological station on the island. 3 amateur radio DX-peditions have visited the island and there are sporadic landings by tourists. History: the first sighting of Peteroi Island was made on January 21, 1821 by Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen's expedition, who commanded the ships Vostok and Mni under the Russian flag. He named the island for Tsar Peter I the Great of Russia. Drift ice made it impossible for Bellingshausen to come nearer than 25 kilometers from the island. It was the first land to have been spotted south of the Antarctic Circle, and was thus also the southernmost sighted land at the time of its discovery. In January 1910, the French expedition led by Jean-Martin Charcot and his ship Pourquoi confirmed Bellingshausen's discovery, but they also did not land, being stopped 5 kilometers from the island by pack ice. In 1926 and 1927, Norwegian Einthoft circumnavigated and surveyed the island from Oddi. However, he was also prevented from landing. The Norwegian whale ship owner Lars Christensen financed several expeditions to the Antarctic, in part for research and in part to claim land for Norway. The latter was motivated by the British taxation of whaling stations in the Antarctic, and Christensen hoped to be able to establish stations on Norwegian territory to gain better privileges and so at least the taxes went to his home country. The first expedition to land on the island was the Christensen-financed second Navagio Expedition, led by Nils Larsen and Olstad. They landed on February 2, 1929 and claimed the island for Norway. Larsen attempted to land again in 1931, but was hindered by pack ice. On March 6, 1931, a Norwegian royal proclamation declared the island under Norwegian sovereignty and on March 23, 1933 the island was declared a dependency. The next landing occurred on February 10, 1948 by Larsen's ship Sporadic. Biological, geological and hydrographic surveys underwent for 3 days, before the pack ice forced the expedition to leave. The expedition built a hut and placed a copy of the document of occupation from 1929 inside. On June 23, 1961, Peteroi Island became subject to the Antarctic Treaty, after Norway's signing of the treaty in 1959. Since then, there have been several landings on the island by various nations for scientific investigations, as well as a limited number of ships that have successfully landed tourists on the island. In 1987, the Norwegian Polar Institute sent 5 scientists to spend 11 days on the island. The main focuses were aerial photography and topographical measurements to allow an accurate map of the island to be produced. The second important area was marine biological investigations, although also geological, biological and other surveys were conducted. The team also built an automatic weather station. 3 DX-peditions have been sent to the island, in 1987, 1994 and 2006. Geography: Peteroi Island is a volcanic island located 450 kilometers off the coast of Ellsworth Land of continental Antarctica. It has an area of 154 square kilometres. The island is almost entirely covered by glacier, with about 95% of the surface covered by ice. Surrounding the island is a 40-metre-tall ice front and vertical cliffs. The long stretches of ice caps are supplemented with rock outcrops. Landing is only possible at 3 points, and only during the short period of the year in which the island is not surrounded by pack ice. These landings take place on the west side at Cap Ingrid Christensen, a peninsula which divides the bays Navagio and Sandøyordbukta. On the cape are some narrow strips of beach, which are suitable for landing. The beach in Navagio is just 4 meters wide and is entered via the natural arched Sarporten. On the west side is a plateau, while the north and south coasts feature ice shelves. The eastern side is the steepest and features 2 rock columns with flat tops in the sea. The island is a shield volcano, although it is not known if it is still active, and it has been categorized as either Holocene or historic, based on date samples ranging from 0.1 to 0.35 million years ago. The summit, Lars Christensen Peak, is a 100-meter-wide circular crater. An ultra-prominent peak at 1,640 meters elevation, it is named for Lars Christensen. It is not known whether this volcano is extinct or not, because the upper part is apparently unmodified by glaciation, indicating an eruption several centuries ago. Environment. The island's vegetation consists exclusively of the mosses and lichens which have adapted to the extreme Antarctic climate. The island has a very harsh climate with strong winds and freezing temperatures. The steady snowfall keeps vegetation to a minimum. The island is a breeding ground for a few seabirds, particularly southern fulmars, but also Wilson storm petrels and Antarctic terns. Penguins, including Ada copyright lion chin-strap penguins, visit the island infrequently. There are numerous seals, particularly crab-eater seals, leopard seals and smaller numbers of southern elephant seals. Politics. Peterøy Island is one of Norway's 2 territorial claims in Antarctica, the other being Queen Maud Land. Peterøy Island is the only claim within 90° W and 150° W and is also the only claim which is not a sector. Being south of 60° S, the island is subject to the Antarctic Treaty. The treaty ensures free access to the island for any scientific investigation, and states that it can only be used for peaceful purposes. Norway, Australia, France, New Zealand and the United Kingdom have all mutually recognized each other's claims in Antarctica. Norwegian administration of the island is handled by the Polar Affairs Department of the Ministry of Justice and Public Security, located in Oslo. The annexation of the island is regulated by the Dependency Act of March 24, 1933. It establishes that Norwegian criminal law, private law and procedural law applies to the island, in addition to other laws that explicitly state they are valid on the island. It further establishes that all land belongs to the state, and prohibits the storage and detonation of nuclear products. Since May 5, 1995, Norwegian law has required all Norwegian activity in Antarctica, including Peterøy Island, to follow international environmental law for Antarctica. All Norwegian citizens who plan activities on Peterøy Island must therefore report to the Norwegian Polar Institute, who may deny any non-conforming activity. All people visiting the island must follow laws regarding protection of nature, treatment of waste, pollution and insurance for search and rescue operations. See also, List of Antarctic and Subantarctic islands, List of islands of Norway by area, List of volcanoes in Antarctica. References. Bibliography, Barr, Susan. Norway's Polar Territories. Oslo, Øyhug. ISBN 82-03-15689-4. Kivik, Helga, ed. Norge I Antarktis. Oslo, Schibsted Forlag. ISBN 82-516-2589-0. Lemesurier, W.E. Thompson, J.W., eds. Volcanoes of the Antarctic Plate and Southern Oceans. American Geophysical Union. ISBN 0-87590-172-7. Rubin, Jeff. Antarctica. Lonely Planet. ISBN 1-74059-094-5.